SB19 just wrapped two back-to-back shows in Australia, Melbourne on December 5th and Sydney on December 6th, as part of their Simula at Wakas World Tour, and today we're breaking down exactly how both shows went. But before we begin, please do well to hit like, share, and subscribe. With that done, let's get into it. SB19's first Australian tour was held at Melbourne Town Hall on December 5th, and yes, the show was sold out. A published first-hand review from Lilithia Reviews painted the night as nothing short of electric, the kind of high-energy concert that hits you with explosive performances, then suddenly slows down and tugs at your emotions. According to the reviewer, SB19 didn't waste a single second getting the crowd fired up. They opened the show with dramatic staging, cloaks flowing as the lights shifted, creating an almost cinematic entrance. And once the intro dropped, they immediately launched into fan-favorite bangers like What?, Mana, and of course the massive crowd-pleaser, Gento, which had the entire hall roaring from the first beat. One of the things that made this concert extra special was the synchronized light-up wristbands distributed to the audience. These weren't just random glow sticks, they were programmed to pulse, flash, and change colors in perfect sync with each song. The reviewer said the effect was surreal. At certain moments, it felt like the entire hall had transformed into one giant living light show. Fans weren't just watching the visuals, they were the visuals. It created this unified, connected atmosphere that made every high note, every drop feel bigger and more immersive. Another thoughtful touch was the display of Tagalog lyrics alongside English translations on the venue screens. For many non-Tagalog speaking attendees, this made a huge difference. People who might have normally just vibed along found themselves actually singing the words, understanding the meaning, and connecting emotionally to songs they'd only heard online before. It turned the concert into a more inclusive and meaningful experience for everyone in the room. The review also emphasized how impressive the group was vocally and choreographically. Despite the intense routines, SB19 kept their live vocals stable and strong throughout. The reviewer paid particular attention to the ballad section, where the members performed seated. Songs like Moonlight, I Want You, Niebe, and Time showed a different side of the group, softer, more vulnerable, and vocally rich. This segment was quiet, heartfelt, and beautifully executed, giving fans a moment to breathe and appreciate their artistry. There were also some sweet, personal moments sprinkled throughout the night. The members gave shout-outs to family members who were watching from the audience, and during the finale, they spent time reaching out toward fans in the front rows, making eye contact, waving, and sharing brief interactions that made those fans feel seen and appreciated. It's also worth noting that Melbourne Town Hall is a heritage-listed venue, which comes with a lot of restrictions designed to protect the building's historic architecture. This meant SB19 couldn't go all out with some of the flashy visual effects they often use on tour. Things like streamers, confetti, or certain pyrotechnics were off limits. For some artists, that kind of limitation could take away from the spectacle. But according to the review, SB19 didn't just work around the restrictions, they thrived despite them. The performance was described as visually stunning, with every moment carefully choreographed and every stage effect, from lighting to projection mapping, used to its fullest potential. Even without the usual bells and whistles, the energy in the room was electric. The synchronized wristbands, the dramatic entrances, and the powerful stage presence of each member created a show that felt bigger than the venue itself. In other words, SB19 didn't need the extra effects to wow the audience. Their singing, dancing, and ability to connect with fans carried the night. Every high note, every perfectly timed choreography move, and every interaction with the crowd made it clear that the performance itself was enough to leave a lasting impression. The Melbourne stop proved that even in a historic venue with limitations, SB19 can deliver an unforgettable experience. The following night, on December 6th, SB19 took the stage again, this time at the Norwest Convention Centre in Sydney. Now, just like the Melbourne stop, the Sydney concert used the same ticket structure: SVIP, VIP, Platinum/Reserved, and General Admission. Fans said the venue was arranged in a way that made it easy for people in almost every section to see the stage clearly, even with the big turnout. Unlike Melbourne, Sydney didn't receive a detailed professional media review, at least not yet. But the concert definitely took place as scheduled, and the fan posts, videos, and comments that came out afterward give a good idea of what the night was like. From the experiences shared by attendees, the Sydney stop stayed consistent with the rest of SB19's 2025 World Tour. The setlist mixed songs from Simula at Wakas with older fan favorites, giving the crowd a balance of new material and classic hits they could shout along to. Their choreography was tight and in sync as always, and even with the demanding routines, their live vocals stayed strong throughout the show. Fans also pointed out how loud and energetic the crowd was. Chants, light sticks, and sing-alongs filled the venue from the opening number all the way to the finale. The overall energy in the room was high from start to finish, making the Sydney performance feel just as powerful and memorable as the other stops on the tour. Now get this. Despite having just come off a big concert in Sydney, SB19 didn't slow down. They were slated to appear the very next day at ACON 2025 in Kaohsiung. That's a pretty savage pace, but it says a lot about their commitment, finishing a world tour stop and then jumping into a major Asian festival without skipping a beat. The festival itself is massive. ACON 2025 features a full lineup of Asian music artists, K-pop, P-pop, and more, bringing together big names and fresh acts for a long night of performances. SB19 is one of the few non-Korean groups on the bill, making their appearance a standout for many fans. For SB19, this back-to-back schedule during the Australia tour, SB19 sends a subtle message that they're not just touring, they're representing P-pop on a major international stage. For their fans, it meant a rare chance to see them both in a dedicated concert and in a huge festival setting within the space of 48 hours. After the convert, all fan accounts coming out of Sydney all described a night that felt polished, emotional, and full of momentum. Many A10 mentioned that the members seemed extra relaxed and playful during this stop, cracking small jokes between songs, teasing each other on stage, and thanking the audience repeatedly for the warm welcome in Australia. Some fans who attended both Melbourne and Sydney said the Sydney crowd felt slightly louder, with more people joining in during fan chants and harmonizing during the ballad sections. Videos shared online show the crowd singing entire verses without missing a beat, which clearly impressed the members. At several points, SB19 paused to listen to the audience sing back to them, smiling and nodding in appreciation. The production setup also appeared to match the tour's overall aesthetic. Clean lighting, sharp transitions, and stage blocking designed to bring each member forward at different moments. Even without the streamers and confetti Melbourne couldn't use, the Sydney show still carried the same visual energy that fans have come to expect from this world tour. Another recurring comment from attendees was how connected the members were to the fans that night. There were multiple moments where they reached out to the crowd, waved to specific sections, and interacted with people holding signs, banners, and flags. For many A10, these small gestures were the highlight of the evening, making the concert feel personal despite the large venue. By the time the final song wrapped, fans said the hall was still buzzing with excitement. Several attendees mentioned that people stayed long after the show ended, taking photos, talking with new friends, and reliving their favorite parts of the night. For Sydney fans who had waited years for another SB19 performance in Australia, this show felt worth the wait. So guys, that's all that went down at SB19's back-to-back shows in Australia. Now I want to hear from you. If you attended the Melbourne or Sydney concert, what was your favorite moment? Drop your experience in the comments, and if you want breakdowns of the Auckland or Perth stops next, just say the word. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more SB19 updates and World Tour coverage. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.